Is it playing, yeah? Everything's sorted? Done. Everything's ready? Okay. Girls, we are back. We are live and direct. Welcome to another episode of Girls Like Me with your favourite hostess, with the mostess. This episode, guys, I'm not going to lie, is very hot in here. But today I'm going to be speaking about my own personal development journey. Obviously, the podcast Girls Like Me is a personal development podcast, and I actually haven't shared anything about myself or my own journey on this, so I just thought that this would be the right time. I have just recently turned 25 as well, so I just feel like I'm just a bit more grown up now. But last year for me was probably one of those years where, you know, you really need it. Like, you need to go through everything that you need to go through. But no, yeah, last year, 24 was just a real big blessing to me in so many ways, and I am so grateful to be in this place that I am now. The way that I'm going to try and do this episode is half of it I'm going to get out my kind of journey, what I've been going through and whatever else personal development wise, and then the second half is going to be more kind of lessons I've learned and just where I'm at now and what I want 25 to look like for me. So yeah, I'm not very... what's the word? I don't really like speaking, or I'm not a very vulnerable person. I already said today to Chase, like, I might cry on this episode, which I'm hoping I'm not. I did have a bit of a big girl chat with myself today, but we will see. So yeah, where do I start with my own personal development journey? Obviously, I think I only really started my own personal development journey when I got involved in business. Before this, I'd never really done anything. Like, I'd had a therapist as a child, but apart from that, I'd never done anything for myself or just digging deeper. But I feel like when you start a business or you become like an entrepreneur, you have to obviously go down that route and go down that journey. So yeah, I think it started, I was about 20, I think I was about 20 when I started to go like networking events, business events, stuff like that. And I feel like it just made me look at myself and my whole life on such a deeper level. Like, I've always been a person, like, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I've always had a bit of confidence and stuff like that, but I've never been like fully confident or fully believed in myself or, you know, open to this world or opportunities and stuff like that. So yeah, I used to like go to events and stuff like that. I did go to one event, which I know quite a few people have spoken about. It was called Tell the World. It was like a really big personal development program. You can't speak about it unless you've actually gone to the program, because everyone signs like a thing. But that program for me really opened my eyes in terms of like living, opportunities, the fact that we get one life, just really putting my all into myself. And then I think from then I kind of was like trying, but I don't think I really dug deep into my personal development journey, kind of opening up those wounds and just really giving it my all, because like I've just mentioned, I'm not very much a vulnerable person. I don't like speaking about my feelings. I don't like crying in front of people. I could sit here on a podcast, interview someone, and also like I'm the friend that people come to me if they have a problem or whatever else. Like, I'm that person that will always like big you up and just make you feel better about yourself. But when it comes to me, myself, obviously I do that for myself, but I'm not really emotional. Like, I just think, no, it's not a bit of me. So yeah, obviously last year was the first year that I actually got like a therapist. So I started going to therapy. I started going to like gym. I started to just really put my all into myself, which was really, really nice. It's kind of hard to do this episode as well without speaking about certain people and certain aspects of my life. But I'm going to do my best. So before that kind of year, or that transition of what I started in last year, I was in a relationship for 7.5 years. That ended because essentially he cheated on me. That's why it ended, and then I left the relationship. That within itself was a whole journey. But like, when I speak about going on like a spiritual journey or God or whatever else, like, now that I'm kind of like out of it, a good like 2 years on, I could not like put God's timing on absolutely everything. Like, the way that it all happened, like the way that I was praying for things, and like, it's just honestly like such a big blessing now that I'm looking back at it. But yeah, essentially, it's hard to do this as well. Like, I'm gonna do this with the most respect that I can do this episode. But yeah, essentially, I was in a relationship for 7.5 years, and we were living together at the time. And at the time, it just wasn't like, I thought I deserved a lot better. Let's put it that way. But we were both going through our own personal struggles and stuff like that. And basically, I just had enough. Like, I was at the point where I just had enough. I actually started therapy then, but I didn't fully start therapy. I started therapy then. And I was like trying to give it my all, but I just couldn't. Like, I just wasn't. And also, I don't know if it's because I was doing therapy in that house or what it was, but it was just a very, very emotional time for me. And I think that really started this whole personal development journey, like revamping me. Although I'd been doing it, I don't think I was, because that breakup for me like really shattered my soul in so many ways. I'm not even going to lie to you girls. Am I very grateful for it now? Yeah, because I feel like any grown woman, businesswoman, any woman that wants to achieve anything, you have to have your heart broken, because I've actually developed such a really good like level of emotional intelligence from that whole like breakup situation and whatever else. But yeah, it's the first time that I'm actually speaking about my breakup. So for this episode, I'm gonna speak about like heartbreak, my personal development journey, going back to therapy last year, like a bit of everything. And that's why I said like I'm gonna try and do this without crying and do my best. But I feel like honestly that's not gonna happen. And also I was writing on my gratitude list like last week that I haven't cried in so long. So I'm really hoping that I don't, but I'm actually during my period as well. So that mix is just going to be a bit but yeah, therapy for me in that house at that time was very weird, because it was the first time that I actually sat with my inner child. That whole experience to me was very, very like crazy, very mad. Like it's just a bit weird. And I think going back to therapy as an adult as well is a bit like, oh, okay. But the only reason why I did go down that route is more, it's like, if I do want to be the woman that I say that I want to be, or, you know, that mother, the wife, like businesswoman, I feel like I really needed to go down that route and deep those things. So yeah, I started therapy when we were still living in that house. Relationship wasn't perfect, but I think it's more like when you've been with someone for that long, number one, that's all you knew. And number two, it's like, he was always a lot more emotional towards me and loving towards me. There's been part of me that I think was like, I love people, like I did love him, I love people, but it's more like I didn't show that. I think there's something emotional where I'm just like, I'm not that person. I think when my friends and family did say it, it was a bit like, oh, okay, like I really deeped it. But anywho, I started therapy in that house and it wasn't going very well in terms of like me actually, what's the word? Getting into it. So the type of therapy that it was as well was IFS therapy. So it's like, I don't know what the abbreviation is for that, but it's like inner child, inner healing, like therapy and whatever else. So I was thinking, oh God, okay, here we go. And I'm going and I was trying, and, you know, like when people describe inner child healing, I think it's a bit weird, to be honest. Like I was a bit like, oh, this isn't for me and whatnot. I don't think I can do this. But there was a moment where I did meet my inner child and it was very like scary and weird and whatnot. So obviously I'm going to these therapy sessions and like she'll start off, or let's say if she's meditating or whatever it is, and she's like, you know, what's coming into your brain? Is there anything coming into your brain? Like, what are you thinking about? And I was doing this therapy, girls, and I'm not even joking. Like, I'm in this therapy session, I'm like, nothing is coming into my brain. Like, I actually don't know what to say to you right now because there's nothing in my head. She's like, okay, what's coming up? How are you feeling? How are you? I'm just sat there thinking, like, okay, is there anything? Like, I'm really trying. And then there was one therapy session. I was alone in the house, actually, which was really nice. I don't know if that was it, but I prayed in the morning and I was like, God, come on, like, I'm actually trying here. Like, I want to put my all into this. Like, I need to give it a go. So we started again. So we're in this therapy now. And I'm doing this like meditation with her, and the questions that she was asking me was like very deep, very personal. Bearing in mind, like I've not shared any personal information with her or whatnot. And then obviously I said that I prayed like to make progress and stuff like that. And I was in this session and stuff, and she was asking me about like my inner. I'm actually scared of this pigeon. My inner child, and she was asking me like questions like if you could go back to a time, if you could go back to a place, if you could go back to like whatever it is. And my eyes were essentially like closed. Anyway, I'm in this therapy session now, and she's asking me about like my inner child. What does she kind of look like? And the way that your brain works, or the way that brains and psychology work, I did not even realize that my brain processed anything or any images or any whatever else. But yeah, she asked me to close my eyes, and she was asking me to picture this little girl, or, you know, who it is that you would want to protect or want to whatever else. And at the time, I was like, I was starting to picture it, like it was starting to come to me and stuff. And the little girl was very weird, because this sofa that I got, like I love that sofa, and still now I picture like her sat on that sofa. And yeah, so I'm closing my eyes, and she's asking me like all these questions and stuff about what she's looked like, what she's wearing, who is she, or, you know, what type of feelings there are around that. And I was picturing myself, and it was like the little girl that it was such a, I think it was such a, oh my God, I don't want to cry. It was such a big part of my life that I don't even think that I did remember. Because when she was asking me like about like what was she wearing or what clothes and stuff, I didn't even know that my brain would remember. But yeah, it was like the little girl and the clothes that she was wearing. It was basically the clothes that I was first sexually abused in as a child. So I think after that kind of session and sitting with that little girl, like it was just a very meaningful thing that I didn't even think that my brain remembered. Because I think after all these years, like you go through so much and you put like so much of yourself away. And when I was in this therapy session, I didn't even think that my brain even remembered that. Like I didn't even remember that aspect of my life or what was going on, or, you know, that kind of thing. And I think with that relationship towards the end, I hadn't told anyone at that point anything about myself or yeah. I hadn't told anyone. So growing up, no one actually knew no one actually knew that I was sexually abused as a child. But my therapist was like, oh, you know, you seem like you would benefit a lot if whatever you're holding back, you would tell someone. And for me, that relationship that I was in, I hate my crying voices, but it actually gives me the ick, so I need to stop crying right now and put my normal voice back on. Right, so that relationship for me, obviously, he did make me feel very safe. I was with him for 7.5 years. And towards the end of that relationship, thank you. Can you see black running down my face? No? Are you sure? But yeah, he was actually the first person that I told that I was sexually abused. And I think that's why the timing of everything was just... it was quite a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a lot. And I think in the end, because I've always been like a very straightforward person, like I've always been a black and white person, like me and him would butt heads or whatnot. We were very big personalities. But I think when you trust someone like that. I didn't just trust him on like a relationship level. I did trust him like with my heart and with my soul. And I think it's like the timing of everything was just like, I don't know, I just felt really shattered. Like, and I think the hardest thing about that whole situation is obviously everyone that knew us was like, obviously you've been together for such a long time and being cheated on and whatnot. And I think everyone watched me like lose my house or lose the relationship and whatnot. And I think it was really hard, but I think deep down, I was more heartbroken that I had obviously told someone that I was sexually abused. And that in the end, like, that's how they did me. I think that really got to me. So yeah, that was really hard to go through. But I think going through that, I remember praying, I was like, God, whoever I need to become or like whatever I need to do, the journey, just make sure that that's what I'm doing. And I think like at the time, I may not have realised that it was for my benefit. Do you get what I mean? It was for my benefit. It was for me. Like everything that I've been through and just all of that. I just think it was a really, really big blessing in disguise. So yeah, and I think now that I'm not in that place, I think at the time my brain was like doing a madness. I was sat there thinking like, did he like not want me because of that, or did like what happened or what changed? Because it's like, for those of you that don't know, like I mentioned, that person was a lot more emotional and in love and whatnot. And it wasn't that I wasn't in love, it was just more that I was the less emotional one when it came to that. So I think when you put what has changed and whatever else, that's where my brain was at that time. But I think now, I think it's more like that relationship was going to end anyway. I think it was down to like insecurity. And I think as I started to step into more of what I wanted and start my business and do all of that, I think it just led to like a lot more insecurity from my end. Bearing in mind, like I'd been a very loyal girl the whole 7.5 years. Like he was the love of my life. But I think walking away from that was also a very big blessing. It's just like sad everything happened the way that it ended. But yeah, no, I think that was really hard. And I think going through heartbreak is just it's one of those weird ones, like you feel it in your chest. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. And I think when you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, it doesn't matter what you've got going on in life. Like you could be heartbroken or someone could die or someone could this. You still have to get up every single day and make sure that you go and do X, Y, Z. And I think that was the hardest thing for me at the time, because I'm packing up my house to go and leave and whatnot, and then go live in my mum's box room again, which was a bit like, oh my God, why am I even here? On top of everything else, on top of the stuff and the guests and the this and the that. So it was a lot, I'm not going to lie. But I think with that, I'm more of like a quiet person. Like I'll just rather go through something, not tell anyone. And I think like when it comes to my friends, I will share certain things, but I won't share everything. So I think that being me, I prefer to just take a few months out, get whatever it is that I need to get done and get together, and then I will come back and obviously put myself out there a little bit. But like at the time, I deleted all my social media, I got rid of everything. I just feel like I needed a full reset and a full rebrand. So yeah, that was a lot. But at the same time, it's like from that period, or without going through that, I don't think I would have gone on this journey that I'm now on. So I'm very, very grateful for that in so many ways, because I feel like I've developed a lot as a person. Like, you know, when you see all those memes, like your frontal lobe has developed, my frontal lobe has now developed, girls. Like it's just, it's hard to put into words, but I think also going through that, giving yourself that time, I really, really needed it. And I think I looked at myself in the mirror when I did start therapy, and I was like, okay, maybe you need to focus on everything internally and mentally before you can go and give it your all. Because at the time, I'm not even going to lie to you guys, my head was mud. Like it was just fully gone. I was like, I don't even want a business. I don't want to do this. I can't do it. Like I was going to dissolve my company. I was going to do the full whack. But I think now, because I've obviously gone through all of that, it's really like, I feel ready now. I feel like I am the person who I've needed to become in order to get the opportunities, in order to have those conversations. And I feel like right now I'm in such a really good space, God willing, like this is the best I've ever felt in my life. Just mentally, physically, like everything. And I'm so, so grateful for that. But I think with that year, it was a very challenging year, like building relationships, like reconnecting my relationship with my mom, like the whole journey of everything that erupted from that whole situation was just, it was just crazy to put into words. So yeah, that happened. And then obviously I moved back into my mum's, as you guys know. I was in my mum's box room, which was fun. And to be honest with you, I'm not even going to cuss it or like say bad stuff, because I'm actually so glad that I do have a mum, and I do know that, like, let's say God forbid anything goes wrong, or now that I live by myself, like if anything goes wrong with that, I know that I can always go home to my mum's house and that she would welcome me with both arms. Do you know what I mean? So I think that was just really beautiful. But I think as a whole, going to therapy and understanding the way that my brain works, or that trauma that you've been through, or certain stuff. And I think like with me, because not stuff has always gone wrong, but there's always something in the works. Like something's always been going on since I've been a kid. I just see this stuff as normal, and I think I've built up the resilience to just keep pushing through and just keep going. But yeah, when I was essentially in therapy this past year, first of all, it's a very big cash loss. So first, you guys need to know it's the best investment that I would say that you need to go and get, but it's a very big cash loss. Like last year I spent thousands and thousands of pounds on therapy. But yeah, she basically explained to me the way that my brain works and the way that people are. So let's say if in your lifetime you will go through 2 to 3 situations which are like very traumatic. So let's say the average person, let's say if they go through a divorce, or if a family member dies, or if they go through a breakup, or, you know, something like that, they are classed as like traumatic experiences. But I feel so wild to say this out loud on camera. I don't even want to say. But basically what she said to me is, you have PTSD, yeah? So when she started using all these words, I'm thinking, I'm not about to listen to this. I started thinking, when people say stuff like that, you just think, do I belong in the loony bin? Like, have I got a few screw loose? Clearly I have. But she said to me, you've not just got PTSD, you've got complex PTSD. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? Because I sat there thinking, these words are just sounding like something that I don't really want to hear and that I haven't really got time for. But what she explained to me, she was like, your personal development journey and your whole life, she's like, just from the fact that you grew up with a mum who was depressed for the whole of your childhood, your dad was abusive, obviously, he was in and out of prison for majority of your childhood, then you were sexually abused as a child, then you're having to go through everything else. She's like, you have got complex PTSD. So I was like there after these therapy sessions, really like scratching my head thinking like, what does this mean, or what do I do? But I would probably say that all of that stuff that I have been through is actually the biggest blessing, like biggest blessing. And this is why when I started Girls Like Me podcast, this is generally for the girls that refuse to give up, or whatever they have been through, or all these odds and stuff. Because as a business owner, or as someone that wants to push through, you have to deal with all of these kind of challenging situations. So not to like glorify or make it out sound like really great, but I'm so glad that God chose me to go through all of these situations and experience all of these things, because I feel like it has built such a version of me. Before, I would say I was a lot more masculine, but it has built now such a feminine, loving version of me where, number one, I put my all into everything that I do. Like, I really value life. I'm so passionate about things. But number two, it's like, I know that whatever I go through, or like struggles, if I have overcome X, Y, and Z, why can I not overcome the next thing? Do you get what I mean? So it's like, if you've been through stuff, it's kind of like, this is a piece of cake. I know that I can do this. I know that I can. But I think for me, at the time, I needed to just mentally get to know myself, mentally get to understand all of this stuff in more of a productive sense. So for example, even learning about like my triggers or being overstimulated or what to do in those topics. So for example, like my biggest thing has been fitness and gym. So people were like, oh yeah, have you gone to the gym to lose weight? Don't get me wrong, I love that I've lost weight and I love that I'm skinnier now, even though I have some big rolls and I'm during my period. But anywho, I love that I've lost weight, but for me, it's more mentally. Like if I don't go to the gym or if I don't do some form of exercise, that does not make me feel good. So exercising, also being overstimulated, I used to take on a lot, like do the most, pack my schedule. Let's say if someone needed a hand or doing something, I would say, yeah, don't worry, I'll be the person, I can help, I can this, I can. And there's that element of, what's the word that I'm looking for? I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but not people pleasing, because I won't really say that I'm a people pleaser, to be honest. But it's that caring aspects. Like if I know that I can help you or if I know that I can do something for you, like I will generally go and do that. I think it's slightly different to people pleaser. I don't know what the term is or the word that I'm looking for. But yeah, that I think that would be me. And I think I've always had that attitude, maybe because that's how I wish people treated me or whatever else. But I think since going through everything, I have got so much love in my life. And I think when you are single and you do actually take some time for yourself, obviously you guys know that I did date someone that was living in New York, and that was just a whole nother scenario that I will get into. But like when you generally sleep alone and you're generally not around anyone, or you get to take that time for yourself and you get to deep that, I think it's so nice. Like it's so nice. Like when my friends are single, they're like, oh, I've got this roster, I've got this, da, 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 da. And I was like, I don't even want to speak to men. Like I'm generally not that. And I think when I put my all into myself, like going kickboxing, going gym, getting a PT, therapy, like doing all of these things, trying like new hobbies as well. Like I've got like craft stuff that I've been doing and stuff like that. Like I'd rather do that and focus on myself mentally than put myself in places that I know is just not going to help my progress and not going to make me the woman that I truly want to become. So yeah, experiences I think that really shaped me over that past year is I really looked at people around me, the way that they love, the way that they are, you know. I think when you have your heart broken as well, you start to realize that there's certain people or certain relationships that they're not actually happy or they're not this. And I think that kind of comforted me a little bit, because what you see out there, or you know, them kind of Instagram couples, they are not happy. Believe me, they are not happy. They are not, you know, going through all of that. And I think because I've always been such a very real black and white person, like even when I was in a relationship, I did not do the whole it's perfect thing, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm a very big personality and I have got a very smart mouth and a very quick mouth, and I do know that. Yes, I have been working on it. So for example, like even when I posted, I haven't actually raised my voice in over a year. Before, if you know me, I would shout, or if I was in an argument, I want to take your head off. Like that used to be me. I'm not even going to lie, girls. But I think just having a level of communication, of understanding and actually being present, I think, because when you do raise your voice at someone or you do shout, that's when the respect for them goes. And I think as a business owner or whatever it is, or towards my future husband, that's not the kind of communication that I want in my household, or to lead a team, or to do anything. So I think I really needed to work on that and focus on that, which I've now done. I'm still doing. I haven't shouted at anyone. I did nearly shout at a man on Saturday night, but apart from that, I haven't shouted at anyone. So yeah, I think that was like a really big thing. But I think analysing people and analysing love and relationships and stuff like that, I think it just made me want to put more into myself rather than focusing on those kind of things. Because I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, a man is the least of my worries. Like I've never been that girl that's been like, oh, I'm gonna be stressed, you know, when am I gonna find a husband, when am I gonna this, when am I gonna that, like that. I just feel like as a woman, that is not your worry and that is not your priority. And if it is, and if that is you, you need to completely change your priorities. You need to get some hobbies and you really need to focus on yourself. That'd be my biggest tips for you girls. But yeah, I just feel like I'm more focused now on who I need to become. And I think that the right man will come along with then, but that's not really my problem. I've left that in God's hands, to be honest. So yeah, I think there was like a few main moments for me that really stuck out. I'd probably say like when I was in the the shit of it, like really going through it. Like my nana took me. I was in a bad way, guys. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I hadn't eaten for like 2 weeks. I was in bed. I was like, it was just very, very a hard time. I don't think I even washed my skin for about 2 days. And my nan just turned up to my house. She was like, Lima, my mum was on holiday, so I was in bed like rotting by myself. She said, Lima, we're going out. I was like, okay, where are we going? And bearing in mind, my grandma is like 60 something years old. She's like, we're going out and we're going to go have a drink and we're going to this and we're going to that. And obviously at the time I was like very emotional, still crying and stuff like that. And there was one point, I think, where like my head was like down and I was crying and stuff like that. And she was like, raise your head. And you know, like when you're heartbroken and stuff, like even raising your head, like your whole body like hurts. Like it's hard to describe. And I raised my head and she was like, you know, you're a Hughes. And I was like, okay. And she was like, do not feel embarrassed because you are a Hughes. She said, I don't care if you're crying or if you've got tears in your eyes or anything. You raise your head and you keep your head high. And I think at the time, I didn't really deep it, but you know, you deep a moment afterwards. And like, since then, I do raise my head because I am a Hughes and I am very proud of that, you know. And I'm so glad that my nana and certain people really did come for me and give me that support, because I think at the time I just felt so embarrassed, you know, like there's nothing more like the way that I got done dirty as well. Like it just, you couldn't write it. And I think with me, I've never really had anyone speak about my character before, or like my weight, or, you know, like people, like girls or this girl and her friends coming for me on about the way that I look or this or that and whatever else. And I just sat there thinking, like, I actually feel embarrassed, number one. Number two, I did not even know about you. Number three, like, I couldn't be asked. So yeah, I think that feeling of embarrassment, I've never felt that before in my life. So yeah, that was a big thing. Another moment, I think, was probably like my little sisters. Obviously, you guys know me, like my sisters are my world. Like I really love my sisters unconditionally. They are my two babies first and foremost. And yeah, like obviously my sisters had a really good relationship and stuff like that. And there was one point where obviously I've not really cried around my family or my sisters. I'm not really that emotional girl or that emotional type. But yeah, my sister, obviously I was crying in my room and I try not to cry around people and stuff. But my sister, obviously, she has this like mood board thing, picture board, mood board, whatever you want to call it, with all like friends and family on. And he was in all the pictures and stuff, because them two had a good relationship. And she came in my room, she was like, I just took all the pictures down, and my mum removed like pictures in our house and stuff like that. She's like, I just don't want to see you cry anymore. And that really sunk in to me as well, because I just sat there thinking, like, I'm actually grown, do you get what I mean? Like my baby sister's 10 years younger than me. I'm actually her role model as well. So whatever I do or how I handle a situation, that's what she's going to go back and think, okay, well, my sister did this or my da-da-da. And since that day, I just don't think that she's seen me cry about a certain situation. Obviously, we spoke about stuff. But after that, I thought, number one, I'm not an idiot. So why am I still sat here crying? Do you get what I mean? Like one of my best friends, when we used to speak, she was like, Lima, you still crying? And I was like, yeah, like the floods and the tears and everything, it all just came like out of nowhere. And then I think like with the whole therapy and not telling anyone what had happened to me or experiences, I think like there was one point where I was going out and drinking like quite a lot. And bear in mind, I'm not a big drinker, girls. Like I've always said, I'm not a big drinker. But anyway, there was a few times where I took it a bit too far, and I was coming home at like 6-7 o'clock in the morning, as you do. We've all gone through it if we've heartbroken. But yeah, I came home to obviously my mum, and bearing in mind like mine and my mum's relationship, like I've said, is like rekindled. And I'd obviously gone home like really, really drunk and stuff like that. And she basically like had to pick me up off the floor. I was being sick and all of this. And that was like the day that I also told my mum. And I just feel like, not that I felt silly or that I felt embarrassed, but I think like as a mum, because my mum has also been through like similar situations, I think it was just really hard for me, because I never really wanted her to feel like that she didn't do a good job, because like my mum has done such a really good job with me and my sisters. So yeah, it was just really hard. And I remember at the time, like I went home and I was like, you know, maybe all this has happened because of X, Y, or Z, and just stuff like that. Like, I think that was really hard to tell my mum, also knowing what she's been through. But yeah, like I mentioned, obviously we've kind of like grown a lot closer and stuff like that. And I think like my mum has always looked at me to be like, you're the one that's essentially going to be able to like buy her a house and do all of this and whatnot. And I think it's like us knowing that has kind of like made us a lot closer and stuff. And I think like now I just do want to be that person that can go home and say like, Mum, like I can afford to buy you a house, or I can afford to do this and whatever else. I think just focusing on myself and on my family, I think has been the biggest thing really. I'm going to try not to cry. I haven't got any more tears now. Are you sure I haven't got mascara down my face, Chase? Are you sure? But yeah, I'd probably say they were like some big moments that really just make me deep life a little bit in terms of like being more grateful as well. I'd say like I've always been quite a grateful person. I've always been someone that feels things like very deeply and stuff, but I think that made me more grateful for everyone that was in my life. And just knowing how much love is all like around me. I think sometimes it's really hard to feel that or to feel lonely and stuff, but I feel so whole now. It's so nice because I've never really been like in this place in my life. So yeah, I think that is like all the hard stuff out the way in terms of the journey that I've been on, obviously stuff that I have been through. What else have I said? I can't still believe that I've mentioned that I have complex PTSD. That is just wild. But it is what it is, you know. I think some of the best people in life actually do have a screw loose. Like all my favourite or like such good people, they're all like a bit, you know, out there. So I think that was that. Lessons that I would probably give to you girls. There are so many, and I think out of this whole situation and whole scenario, I think I just really realised that I am actually that girl. Like I am actually that girl on such a big level. Like, and also, number one, do not let anyone else's insecurity when it comes to a man, when it comes to his new girlfriend, when it comes to a woman, anyone talk you out of being who you need to be or who that they think you will be. That's number one. Because I think I went through a phase, bearing in mind I've never done the whole why her and not me situation, because that is not running, because I'm not insecure. I've never been insecure. I know exactly why. But I think as a whole, it was more like I'd never gone through that. But I think learning more and being more confident and more, you know, out there. Before I used to think like if I was with someone, or let's say a man was insecure or something like that, that I was too much. That used to be my thing of like, am I too much? Am I too ambitious? Do I want too much? And the correct answer for that is yes, I am ambitious. Yes, I do want too much. And if you don't want to meet me there, then that is your problem, because I think there's this whole idea or stereotype around ambitious women that they're not going to find love, or that they can't, or that they're this or they're whatever. Let me tell you, I will not date an insecure man. Yeah, I will not date an insecure man. I will not be with him. Let's even go back to this whole New York situation, scenario, whatever else. So obviously I mentioned that to you before, girls. And to be honest with you, I think because I'm such a loving person, like when I do something, my whole heart or my whole everything has to feel that. And I think, number one, I just didn't feel that. Don't get me wrong, princess treatment is nice, being treated nice is really good. It's every girl's dream, but I think I'm more of a person where I actually don't care how much money a man has or what it is. And I think being an entrepreneur as well, my idea of dating is slightly different, because I know, and I know so many men that are entrepreneurs that are building, majority of these men, they haven't got it like that, or they haven't got that cash. Do you get what I mean? So it's like, as a girl, or for example, some of my friends will be like, I want a man that does this. For me, obviously you still have to have a certain standard and whatever else, but when it comes to the money and the gifts and the this and the that, I feel like that's not very important. Because, so for example, like some of my friends, or even guys that I know doing property, let's say if they buy a house or buy this for 200,000-300,000 or whatever else, I know some of them that are paying themselves a salary of £300 from their business. Do you get what I mean? So out of that £300, how are you expecting a man to do X, Y, Z, da, 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 da? And I think same with me. So for example, in this scenario, let's say if he's like, oh, you know, you should be saving more money, or do you want to buy a house, or do you want this, or do you want that? For me, I have very clear goals of what I want to achieve, what I want my life to look like. So for example, like even this podcast, why are you doing it? You know, it's not making you any money. Why are you doing it? Or why are you? And I think understanding that certain people are not going to see your vision or what you want or who you are. And also sometimes everything that you do doesn't have to always be about money. Sometimes it can just be because you love doing what you want to do. So I think in that scenario of the whole dating situation, what done it for me, to be honest, guys, I wasn't going to tell you, but now I might as well just tell you. Obviously we was there. Like I've mentioned, his feelings were a lot more stronger, I believe, than mine. And I do feel really guilty. I did feel really guilty about this whole scenario, but it is what it is. And I think as a person, like I'm very black and white. Like I would rather be completely honest with you and tell you where I'm at than sit there and lie to you or sell your dream or whatever else. And it came to the point where he was looking at like engagement rings and, you know, I can't help it. If you fall in love with me, you fall in love with me, is what it is. But yeah, and I just didn't. But also there was a level of insecurity there as well, which I just generally can't be arsed with, to be honest. Like we was walking, and we was on about like a billboard or whatnot and stuff like that. And I was like, give me a few years, like I think I could do that. And then we were speaking, and then we was on about like Forbes 30 under 30. And at the time, obviously I was 24, and we're eating dinner now, speaking about this all, and it's on about Forbes 30 under 30. And I was like, personally, I feel like that's achievable. Like anything that you want in this life is achievable. 6 years, I feel like if I really put my all into everything and I patterned everything and I went for it, yeah, I know what I'm capable of. And me saying that, I think makes him feel a certain way. So we was sat at this dinner and he was basically sat there telling me, well, his exact words were, do you think that's possible for someone like you? And I just literally, yeah, girls, the way that my head turned, I looked at him. You know, and you just deep in something. I just sat there, do I think it's possible for someone like me? Are you mad? And I actually felt really slick with my response as well. Basically what I said is, I looked at him, I was eating my dinner and I was like, yeah, do you think it's possible for a girl like me? Thank you. And then after that, he was just speaking about himself and stuff. And I thought, by that point, I've lost feelings. Like it just gave me it just made me feel weird. So I just carried on. I did my lip gloss. Like we were in this very lovely Michelin star restaurant. There was like glass all over there. So I was just doing my lip gloss in like the mirror and stuff. And after that dinner, I thought, this is definitely the last time you'll ever see me again in your life. Like after that is a no. And yeah, that was the scenario. Afterwards, I did feel a bit guilty. Like I've mentioned, I was in bed. I was eating like bags of chocolate, which you know is not really me because I'm trying to be a bit more healthier. But at the time, I just deeped it. I was in bed and I just started thinking like, Alima Hughes, are you really going to be with a man that doesn't believe that kind of stuff is possible for you? The answer is no, because I feel like I would have to, if there was a man in my life, he would have to be the person that's like, you can 100% do this, or give it a go, or what's the worst that can happen, or like, you are the person for this. Like that's the kind of energy I feel like I would bring to someone. So if you're not going to meet me at that energy, but like I've mentioned, people do have insecurities as well. But I think because now I've got a level of, what's the word? A level of confidence, a level of self-worth. Like I really value myself. Like I really love myself. I've worked on my self-love a lot. I can't deal with any of that. And I think that for me was like just really, really hard to obviously say goodbye to someone that was not feelings there. But I just started thinking, that's it. It's done. It's over. But like I mentioned, this was a good few months ago as well. And I don't really speak about stuff when I'm going through it. I just kind of like let it pass, then come back and pop out. But yeah, that was that scenario. And I just sit there thinking like everything in my life now has to feel fully aligned. Like I'm at a point, when I say like my frontal lobe has developed, I'm at a point now where it's like, unless you want to meet me at the let's go, let's give it our all, because I'm someone, I truly believe, girls, that we only get one life. Like we only get one life. So if you want to do this, if you want to that, if you want to, like, personally, me now, going through all of that before, I didn't think that I could fly or that it was possible for me, or like, you know, all these limiting beliefs that you had. But now, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, like, I truly believe that I can fly, or that I can do anything that I put my mind to. And it's really, really exciting. And also, like, the type of people that I've been meeting, the conversations that I've been having, I just feel like when I did pray and when I did start crying, you know, my prayer was, God, I want you to turn me into who I need to be and who I need to become. And I think the only thing is, sometimes when we do pray or we do ask for God for something, we want it in the way that we expect it to, or we want it in the way that we envision it. But it never really happens like that. It happens the way that God has written it, or whatever, you know, is going to happen from that. But I think for me, it was more that whole scenario, it was from God, you know, and whether I like it or not, whether I've gone through heartbreak or whether I've had to experience all these things, I got what I prayed for in the end, and I'm living in so many answered prayers because of it. So yeah, do not lower your standards, and I think working on your self-worth, your self-love, like all of these things, it's the best thing for you. And I think now that I'm entering 25, I just feel like I've got more of a, not even more of a confidence. I do feel like I've got more of a confidence, but it's more of like a, okay, let's get this done. Let's start moving with action now. Let's start, you know, like making things happen. And I think now, obviously, when I did come out of that relationship, like my finances were not in order. My credit score was in the worst place it had been in my life. Do not take a loan out for a man. Do not take fucking Sky Sports out for a man. Do not do any of those things. Believe me, I learnt my lesson. But yeah, all of that stuff. And I feel like now I've had a rough 2 years. I'm kind of like in the phase where I've got my bounce back. Like everything's patterned now. Like I'm ready to go. I don't feel like I've had a bit of a cry today, but before this, I've not had a good cry in like a year. I have a little cry over little stuff because I am still a girl. But I just mentally feel like this is going to be the best year of my life. And I think when it comes to turning 25, everything that I am hoping for or that I am wanting is just for things to be fully in alignment to me and my purpose and my vision. And I think sometimes I have listened to people, or, you know, gone with what has been expected because that's what feels right. And the truth is, everything that I am building now is what younger me actually wanted. But she just didn't have the confidence to do, or like the ability that I'm the right person for it. So yeah, I'm focusing more on like women in business stuff, obviously more property stuff. I think my whole journey as a whole when it comes to property is, I started that with a very hustler mentality of like, oh, I need to work and save X amount of money and this and that. And I feel like over the past years, my mind has just developed so much where I truly think that I'm the type of person where so many people are going to invest their money with, or so many people, because I'm confident in what I do. I've got a decent reputation for myself now. I can confidently go into a room and know that I'm the right person for the job. And I think that has come with time, with energy, with obviously doing all those things that I've mentioned. But I think as a whole, girl, like, I'm trying to be as realistic with you. Obviously, I've shared parts about myself today that I've not shared with many people. And I think when it comes to actually not giving up, and when I say that this is for the girls that have refused to give up, I truly just hope that if anyone has watched this episode and thought, you know what, maybe I have been through hell and back, or maybe I have this, or it doesn't feel like the right timing, or it doesn't, everything is leading up to something, and everything is like honestly working out for you. Because if you would have asked me a few years ago, like, would I be in this place? Like, for example, like even that inner child healing, like that little girl did not know how good life was going to get for her, or how many opportunities, or how happy she would be. Like that little girl was so depressed, and so like, even growing up, so many other things and emotions, like it was just really, really hard. But I just honestly believe that I have so much love in my heart, like I do. And I just feel like even going through all of these experiences, I just feel like if you can turn any pain that you have been through into something really beautiful, that's the whole point of life, really, isn't it? That's what we're here for. But yeah, I think as a whole, I have so much more love in me. And I think a lot of people need to understand that it is truly about your mindset. So I could sit here and say, I've gone through X, Y, and Z, or I hate this, or even, for example, like I hate men, or with certain things that I've been through. I love men. Like I love being around good men. I love being around good businessmen. Like I love my family. I love my friends. Like I look forward to one day having a husband and pouring my all into him. Like I have so much love in me, my friends, my family, like my siblings, like everything. I just feel like it's a lot to do with your mindset. And I feel like if you genuinely come from a place of love and gratitude, that everything that is alignment to you will serve you and you'll get there. In terms of like tips that I would realistically give to you girls, number one, how I've mentioned, you need to focus on yourself. You need to focus on yourself, but also do it from a point of actually doing the work, because I feel like wellness and Instagram girly personal development is more like, let's get a matcha and let's, go for a hot girl walk, and that's personal development. I've never tried matcha in my life. I do actually want to try matcha, but that posting on social media and the matcha and all of that is not actually personal development. Personal development is crying. Personal development sometimes looks like locking yourself in a room and not wanting to speak to people, or going for walks, or, all of those kind of things. But I think with me, or what I hope you honestly take away from this episode, is that I am not someone that's perfect. And I think sometimes people will look at me like I'm the most positive, happy, because I post like very positively and stuff, that I am naturally this positive person, that everything has been rosy in my life. It's not. And I really want you to understand that it has taken me such a long time to actually come to this level. Do you know what I mean? So if you are not there, or if you're comparing yourself and stuff like that, I think you never know what's going on behind someone's closed doors, or you never know truly everything that someone has been through. And I think that's why when it comes to starting girls like me, or, networking events and stuff, I've got a lot of time for all you girls. And I really do appreciate like all the support, all the messages that I get and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing for me is like, when I say girls that refuse to give up, it does matter. It doesn't matter what you've been through. It does matter, all those life-changing experiences and stuff like that. But I think as a whole, there comes a point where you grow up, and as a woman, you need to understand that no one is coming to save you. Like, it's actually your responsibility. And I could sit there and everything that I've listed in my life, or for example, like I've mentioned, complex PTSD and stuff, I could sit there and be like, oh, this has happened to me, or that's happened to me, or whatever else. But that attitude realistically isn't going to get you absolutely anywhere. And it's also my responsibility. Do you get what I mean? Like, my life is my responsibility. And I think if you look at that and also dive into those areas of yourself that do need work, discipline, whatever it is, mental health, discipline, gratitude and stuff like that, like, you will truly be on that path. And also, I think chapter 25 for me is also understanding that I am going to make mistakes and that I don't have it all together. And, looking at my life, I thought I'd be engaged now. I thought I'd be this. I thought I'd own a house. I thought I'd, all of these things. And I don't have any of those things yet, but I'm in the best place I've ever been mentally, physically, spiritually. And I think it's just like, it's all coming with time. And I think as an entrepreneur, you need to really understand that whatever goal it is that you have in your mind, it's probably going to take you 5 times as longer. Or like me now, when I first started off doing like property and stuff when I was like 2021, I thought I would be absolutely loaded by now. And reality just doesn't look like that, So I think it's just understanding that whatever you're going through, it doesn't matter what you want or what your goals are, because number one, God always has timing for you and for your life. And I think now it's like everything that I've gone through over this whole 2 years has just made me trust the timing of my life even more so. But yeah, I really do hope that this episode has helped whoever finds it, of me sharing a little bit about my struggles, my personal development journey. You've actually seen me cry. I'm going to go home because that's really given me the ick. But it is what it is. And I think you guys know that I'm trying to be as real, as open and honest with you guys. And not every single day I'm happy. Not every single day it goes well. Not every single day is full of yeses. But every single day I'm grateful for my life and the path that I'm on. So yeah, if you have enjoyed this episode, or if you feel like it's, touched anything in you, Please like, please comment, please subscribe, please share. And if you think anyone is going to benefit from this episode, definitely share. But like I've mentioned, always do that from your heart. And if this episode feels like it's in alignment to you. But yeah, love and light, girls. I will see you on the next episode, my darlings. Bye. Bye.